There is a sea buried beneath the Sahara Desert, not a dried-up riverbed, not a damp patch of rock, a colossal continent-spanning body of ancient freshwater sitting silently in the dark, beneath the driest, most hostile landscape on the surface of this planet. It is called the Nubian Sandstone Aquifer System. It is the largest known fossil water aquifer in the world, and almost nobody has heard of it. Today, we are going underground. Let's start with the numbers, because even the numbers here are surreal. The Nubian Sandstone Aquifer System stretches across more than 2 million square kilometers of northeastern Africa, underneath Egypt, Libya, Sudan, and Chad. Underneath Egypt, Libya, Sudan, and Chad. That is an area larger than all of Western Europe. And the water it contains? An estimated 150,000 cubic kilometers of fresh water? To put that another way, it holds more water than the Nile River would discharge in 500 years. It is 20 times larger than the combined volume of all 5 North American Great Lakes. Beneath one of the emptiest, most waterless places on Earth is enough fresh, clean water to supply the entire world for thousands of years. Let that sit for a moment. But before we talk about what this water is doing there, we need to go back. Way back. Because the story of this hidden ocean starts with a Sahara you would not recognize. About 11,000 years ago, the Sahara Desert did not exist. About 11,000 years ago, the Sahara Desert did not exist. Not the way we know it today. In its place was something almost impossibly different. A lush, green, living landscape of lakes, rivers, grasslands, and forests stretching across the northern half of Africa. Scientists call this period the African Humid period, or sometimes simply the Green Sahara, and it was real. During this era, the Sahara received around 500 millimeters of rain per year, roughly the same as the south of France today. Rivers carved their way across the continent. Shallow lakes sparkled across the desert basin. Hippopotamuses swam in what is now one of the driest places on Earth. Crocodiles basked on riverbanks in what is now empty sand. And people? People thrived here. Hunter-gatherers, fishermen, and early pastoralists built communities across the Green Sahara, leaving behind one of the most remarkable things archaeologists have ever discovered. Tens of thousands of rock paintings and carvings on cliffs and cave walls across the Sahara, depicting swimming, dancing, cattle, elephants, and everyday life, in places that today receive almost no rainfall at all. One of those sites in Egypt is even called the Cave of Swimmers. A cave in the middle of a desert, filled with ancient paintings of people swimming. All of this was real, and then it ended. Around 5,000 to 8,000 years ago, Earth's slow axial wobble shifted the angle at which sunlight hit the northern hemisphere. The monsoon rains that had been feeding the Green Sahara weakened and retreated south. The lakes began to dry, the rivers shrank, the grasslands turned to scrub, then to sand. Over the course of several thousand years, though rapidly by geological standards, one of the most biodiverse regions on Earth became the largest hot desert on the planet. But here is the thing. All that rain, the thousands of years of monsoon downpours across the Green Sahara, didn't just evaporate. A vast amount of it soaked into the ground. It percolated down through sandstone rock, deeper and deeper, until it was trapped beneath layers of impermeable clay and rock, sealed away from the surface world above. And there it stayed. The water under the Sahara today is the rain of the Green Sahara. It is the water from a world that no longer exists. Scientists have dated it using radiocarbon technology, and what they found is extraordinary. Most of the water in this aquifer is between 100,000 and 1 million years old. Some of it last saw daylight before modern humans walked the Earth. This is what scientists call fossil water, ancient, irreplaceable, and completely sealed from the world above. Now here is where things get genuinely mind-bending. Because of how deep and isolated this water is, it barely recharges at all. The current rate of natural replenishment is, as one hydrogeologist put it, effectively zero. Think about what that means. Every single drop of water in this aquifer is essentially a one-time resource. Drink it, and it is gone. Not in decades, not in centuries, but on a geological timescale. Once it's used, it will not come back, not in any time frame that matters to a human civilization. Scientists have compared extracting it to mining. You don't grow it back, you don't refill it with rain, you drill down, you pull it up, and the clock ticks down. It is, in every meaningful sense, a treasure locked in the earth from another age of the world. So what do you do when you discover a treasure that enormous beneath your feet? If you are Libya, you build the most audacious water engineering project in human history. In the 1950s, Libyan oil companies were drilling in the southern desert looking for petroleum. They found something they weren't expecting: water. Enormous quantities of ancient, crystal-clear freshwater sitting in the rock below the sand. By 1984, construction had begun on what became known as the Great Man-Made River. And the name does not do it justice. The Great Man-Made River is the largest irrigation project ever built on Earth. It consists of more than 1,300 wells drilled deep into the Nubian Aquifer, some more than 500 meters below the surface. From those wells, water is pumped into a network of underground concrete pipes stretching nearly 2,800 kilometers across the desert, a pipeline system longer than the entire width of continental Europe. Each pipe in the network is 4 meters in diameter, wide enough to drive a car through. The project used enough steel wire to wrap around the Earth 280 times, enough concrete to build 20 Great Pyramids of Giza. And every single day, this system delivers up to 6.5 million cubic meters of fresh water, drawn from an aquifer that stopped being recharged thousands of years ago, to the cities of Tripoli, Benghazi, and Sirte on Libya's Mediterranean coast. It currently provides 70% of all the freshwater used in the entire country. Libya called it the 8th wonder of the world. The total cost? An estimated $25 billion, funded entirely without international loans, paid for with oil revenue. One of the largest civil engineering projects ever undertaken by a single nation. Here's the twist that turns this from an amazing story into something much more profound. The water is running out. Because the aquifer cannot replenish itself, every liter pumped to the surface is a liter that took hundreds of thousands of years to accumulate. Water that last fell as rain during the Green Sahara, water that outlasted entire civilizations, ice ages, and extinctions, is being pumped up and used to water fields and fill taps at a rate the Earth cannot replace. Scientists estimate that at current extraction rates, this resource could last anywhere from hundreds to a few thousand years. But the deeper concern is that nobody knows the exact number, and extraction rates are increasing as populations grow. And it is not just Libya. Egypt is expanding its own drilling into the aquifer. Sudan and Chad draw from it too. All 4 countries share the same underground reservoir, the same ancient water, and currently there is no binding international agreement that controls how fast it is used. What took hundreds of thousands of years to fill could be emptied in a geological instant. Let's come back to something, because there is a detail buried in this story that deserves its own moment. Remember those oil drillers in the 1950s in the Libyan desert looking for petroleum? When they found water instead of oil, they initially weren't even sure what to do with it. The plan at first was to use it to grow crops right there in the desert, near the wells, because moving it thousands of kilometers seemed impossible. But eventually someone asked the bigger question: what if we didn't have to choose between the desert and the coast? What if the desert was hiding exactly what the coast needed? That question led to one of the boldest ideas in modern engineering history: the decision to move ancient Ice Age water across 1,600 kilometers of open desert through buried pipes to coastal cities that had been running out of drinkable water. It worked. And it is still working today, quietly, beneath the sand. The Sahara is not what it looks like. Beneath its emptiness, beneath the heat and the silence and the endless dunes, is a record of a completely different world. A world of rivers and hippos and human communities and monsoon rains. All of that water is still there, ancient, dark, pressurized, cold, sitting in the pores of sandstone rock that formed when the dinosaurs still walked the earth, waiting. We found it. We are using it. And one day, perhaps in centuries, perhaps sooner, the last of it will be gone, and the rain that made it will never come again. The Sahara has two faces. One is the desert the world sees, the other is the ocean the world forgot. Both are real, and only one of them will last forever. If this opened your eyes to something you never expected, hit subscribe, because the hidden world beneath our feet is stranger and more beautiful than almost anyone realizes. Leave a comment below. Did you know any of this? Because most people don't.